Our PR guy steps in front of me. He says, "Timmy, did you realize what happened?" And I was like, "Yeah, we just beat the Steelers. We're going to play the Patriots. Like, let me do this." He was like, "Timmy, did you realize what happened?" I could tell he was being serious. So I was like, "Patrick, what's up, man?" He looks at me and says, "Timmy, this is exactly 3 years from the time you put John 3:16 into your eyes." I was like, "Oh, really? That's awesome. That's really cool." He says, "No, you don't realize. During the game, you threw for 316 yards. Your yards per rush were 3.16. Your yards per completion were 31.6. The time of possession was 31.06. And the ratings for the night were 31.6. And during the game, 90 million people Google John 3:16, and it's the number one thing on all social media right now."
Returned at home this year, here in altitude, yet another touchback. In fact, it hits the crossbar and bounds all the way out. Stop right there at the 20. Stop right there. Okay, we'll start it at the 20. That's how you get a touchback.
Hey everyone, so thanks for watching again as always, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that beginning part showing you guys what happened in the NFL game with Tim Tebow. And with that being said, with what I just presented there, I'm going to add some things additionally that I kind of just want to explain, with my voice. So again, we're going to talk about some additions to this number 316 and why it might be so important, especially in the language of Gematria. As I showed you guys in this screenshot in the beginning of the slides, in one of the Gematria ciphers, the trigonal cipher, John equals 316. Of course, the famous verse, probably one of the most famous verses in the Bible, is John 3:16. So it's very interesting that it equals 316. And so with that being said, let's look at another connection. But before we do that, we have to set the stage, because not only is the 316 important, but I want to talk about the number 316. And I believe there's a reason for this. And the reason is, in John 3:16, it talks about his only begotten son, as in his only, as in the one son, the only one, right? And that's important because we're talking about the one son in verse 3:16. And if you take the number 1 and you put it in front of the 3:16, you get the number 1316, which I believe represents the Jesus code, okay? And the reason I believe that is obvious here. And I want to give a big shout out to Derek, Gematrinator85, the guy who created the calculator. He's a big part of revealing this earlier in the year to me, and I just kind of wanted to do a video about it. So a big shout out to Derek. But look at this. So what I just described to you about John 3:16, talking about the one son, right? And the number 1316, like the one son in verse 3:16. That's what I'm getting at. And look at this. Jesus Christ in reverse standard, which is just a basic long form gematria, equals 1316. Just like another name that he's known by, Yeshua, equals 1316. So there's two different ways that you can get this 1316. Either you write Jesus Christ or you write Yeshua. Both have that 1316. And I believe that represents the one son that's mentioned in John 3:16, 1316. Now, not only does Jesus Christ Yeshua equal 1316, if you go over to the forward standard cipher, you're going to see that there's two things that equal 1316. Jesus Christ, second coming, and return of Jesus. Both equal 1316. And if you go over to the Latin, and again, these three ciphers are the main higher number ciphers that we use in Gematria, so these are very relevant. The Tetragrammaton, whether you write it with the J or whether you write it with the I, equals 1316. And take a look at that. Jesus' second coming also equals 1316. Just like Jesus Christ's second coming in standard equals 1316, and return of Jesus 1316. So what are the chances? All these things have this 1316. And again, I believe that references John 3:16, where the one Son is begotten, right? The one. Fun fact, in the same cipher as Yeshua, the word Neo or Keanu, who played the one in the Matrix, Keanu equals 1316. Okay, and we're talking about the one, Jesus, the one Son, the one begotten. So think about that. Now, I'm going to show you another example in our pop culture that points to this 1316. And it's going to go back to this man. You guys, if you guys have been watching my channel for any length of time, you've seen me talk about this man, Roman Reigns, also known as the Tribal Chief. So his gimmick in the WWE is he's the head of the bloodline, the leader of the bloodline, and the tribal chief, and the Roman Reigns. Get it, guys? Roman Reigns. The Roman Catholic Church. Jesus. Rome. All connected. Anyways, he calls himself the One. And he always, whenever he has his speeches, he always ends by holding one finger to the sky and saying, "Acknowledge me." And then they say, "We are the ones." So this is obviously something they're talking about here, and I'm talking about the one. So Roman Reigns in wrestling earlier this year on April 7th, he lost his title that he held for 1316 days. Okay, this is the number I just revealed to you. So this man held the title for 1316 days. This is, of course, is the gematria of all these things I showed you, which connects back to 1316, John, the one Son in verse 316. Okay, and what are the chances he held the title for 1,316 days before losing the title to the Crossroads? So the guy who beat him finished him off with a move he calls the Crossroads. The cross, guys. You see what I mean? How blatant, this is? Cross. He gets taken out by the cross after 1,316 days, which is the gematria of Jesus Christ. Okay? And don't overlook the fact that he was the universal, like the universe, as in the one. Uni means one. Universal champion after 1,316 days. Jesus Christ, 1,316. Now, on top of that, again, I just wanted to remind you guys here with this 1316 code. But on top of that, the same day that Roman Reigns lost after 1316 days, his former partner, whose name is Seth Rollins, which equals Jesus Christ in the ordinal gematria, he ended his championship reign at 316 days. So on the same night, you have two guys who were partners in the beginning of their careers losing their championships, and one of them losing it 1316 days and one losing it 316 days. Okay? So they obviously wanted this theme to be here, but I believe that this one represents the not the one. As in the 1316, he's missing the one. You guys get it? This guy has the one, this guy doesn't. But both of their championship reigns ended with the 316. Okay? Now, after Roman Reigns lost that match to the Crossroads at WrestleMania on April 7th, he disappeared from wrestling for 4 lunar phases exactly. No extra days. Exactly 4 lunar phases. So from Roman Reigns losing to the Crossroads to his return, remember I told you back here, return of Jesus 1316, Jesus' second coming 1316. So this is Roman Reigns' second coming, when he came back after 4 lunar phases, after losing his title after 1316 days. Why 4, guys? Because 4 represents the cross. He got taken out on the cross here, but he returned or resurrected after 4 lunar phases, which represents the 4 points of the cross. All right? And he returned as his new name, the original tribal chief, or the OTC. So here you have your T again. Remember, if you guys watched the beginning of this, it was all about Tim Tebow. Tebow. The T is the cross, okay? So why does he have the cross in the middle of his new logo? Well, he's the OTC, the original cross, Christ, you could say. That's not what it really stands for, but his name stands for the original tribal chief. But you could say this is like the original cross, Christ, right? So, anyways, remember the T as we go through. Now, look at this, guys. This is an experimental cipher, but it's very interesting. In the composite cipher, which means each letter is labeled after the first 26 composites, the original tribal chief equals 316. And another fun fact is Timothy R. Tebow, if you write his name with his middle initial, also equals in the same cipher 316. If you type in Timothy R. Tebow, this guy's name, it equals 316 in the same cipher as original tribal chief. And again, what did Roman Reigns do? He returned as the original tribal chief, but then he changed it to the only tribal chief. So now he calls himself OTC, but it means only tribal chief. And there you go again, because the only represents the verse in John 3:16 where it says his only begotten son. Only tribal chief. You guys get it? I think you guys get it. But with that being said, guys, I think I've covered it all, considering all the stuff with Tim Tebow, all the stuff with Roman Reigns. These are 2 examples that we can look back on and say, these codes are truly in the code of these events. And with all this gematria also pointing to this number, it doesn't seem like a coincidence. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please hit the likes on the way out. And as always, we will see you guys in the next video. Take care.